Beautiful one, if Saturn is in your first house right here, you are already know the weight of being seen. It can feel like life stamped responsibility onto you before you even had a chance to play. But what if that heaviness wasn't punishment? What if it's the very reason you're here? This isn't about astrology theory. This is about you, the identity you carry, the authority you build, and the person you're becoming. If you've ever wondered why your life feels like it's under Saturn's gaze, this message is for you. Beautiful ones, welcome back. I'm Cindi, astrologer, mystic, and guide through the stars. Here on Simply Cindi, we walk the path of remembrance together. Astrology, tarot, hypnosis, and the wisdom of the earth. These are all tools to help you not just understand the energies, but embody them. Last week, we opened this new series, Saturn Through the Houses, and I'm really excited about it because Saturn is very prominent in my chart as I am an Aquarius ascending. So, Saturn Through the Houses, the Astrology of Your Becoming, with an introduction to Saturn. Now, today in episode 2, and I will leave that first episode up here for you. Today in episode 2, we begin the journey through each house, house by house. So each week I will be releasing a new house, okay? We're starting where everything begins, the first house, the house of identity, embodiment, the self you meet in the mirror. Now, beautiful one, tell me, have you ever felt older than your years? As if you were born already carrying the weight of responsibility. Saturn in the first house is not subtle. From the moment you entered this life, it's as if a mantle was placed on your shoulders, one you didn't choose, but one you couldn't set down. For many with this placement, childhood ended way before it began. You may remember moments when others called you so mature for your age. And part of you wore that like a badge of honor. But another part of you longed for freedom, for the innocence you never quite got a taste. You might have felt like life demanded you to be grown up in your family, in your school, in your relationships. Maybe you carried a responsibility that was far too heavy for your small hands. Or maybe you always felt like you were being watched, judged, measured, expected to perform, even when you just wanted to be. And yet, beautiful ones, Saturn's weight is not here to crush you. It's it is scaffolding. It is the architecture of becoming. Saturn in the first house doesn't hand you an easy beginning, but it does give you a spine of steel, a presence that others can lean on, and an integrity that time itself cannot erode. Where others stumble into their authority later in life, you've been invited to carry it from the very start. You are being shaped into someone whose presence commands respect, not because you shout the loudest, but because you hold steady. Saturn has been preparing you all along to embody gravitas, the quiet, grounded authority that only those who have carried weight can ever know. Tell me, beautiful one, did you ever, or do you now, feel like you have to prove yourself just to exist? With Saturn in the first house, the shadow often feels like living life under a spotlight that never turns off. It's as if the world is always watching, waiting, and measuring. You may feel that in order to be accepted, Even to be loved, you have to show up perfectly. You have to perform. You have to prove you deserve to be here. The mask becomes so serious. You put on the face of responsibility because it feels safer than vulnerability. You keep your posture rigid. You step carefully because deep down you fear being exposed, criticized, or dismissed. And while others may see you as reliable, steady, or accomplished, inside you may feel invisible, not seen for who you are, only for what you do. This placement can turn your very body into a battleground. Your shoulders tight, your back aching, breath shallow, as if you're carrying the weight that never lifts. Some with Saturn here struggle with health issues tied to stress, rigidity, or posture because the body absorbs the story of, I must hold it all together. And yet, Saturn's shadow is never meant to trap you. It is a teacher showing you what happens when you over identify with proving, when you believe your worth depends on performance. Saturn in the first house asks you to face this fear of visibility, this pressure to be perfect, and to find the truth beneath it, that you do not have to prove your existence. You already are enough simply in being. What happens when Saturn comes back to the place it was when you were born? Let's talk about the Saturn return in the first house. When Saturn returns to your first house around ages 29, 58, and 87, identity itself becomes the initiation. This isn't theory, this is lived. It's raw. It's the moment when the scaffolding Saturn built around you is tested. At the first Saturn return, you may feel like the life you built no longer fits. The career, the relationship, even the way you carry yourself in the world. It can all feel too small, like clothes that once protected you but now suffocate. For some, this comes as crisis. So, a breakup, a career ending, health challenges that force you to look in the mirror and ask, who am I really? For others, it's quieter, but no less powerful. A deep knowing that the mask must come off, that pretending is no longer possible. By the second Saturn return, you've lived enough to see the patterns. You've carried the weight long enough to know what isn't yours. This return isn't about crisis so much as clarity. It's the point where you claim your authority consciously. You realize that presence doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from showing up as yourself, unapologetically. And by the third Saturn return, you are invited into elder wisdom, not authority built on status, but on resonance. People listen to you not because of what you've achieved, but because of the way you embody truth. Your very presence becomes medicine for others. Each Saturn return in the first house is a doorway. The first strips away illusion, the second crowns you with authority, and the third clothes you in wisdom. Saturn doesn't ask if you're ready, it simply arrives, holding up the mirror and saying, this is who you've become. Do you trust it? Will you step into the next becoming? What if presence was enough without proving or performing? Let's talk about the evolutionary invitation. Saturn in the first house carries a powerful invitation. to step out from under the weight of performance and into the quiet strength of authenticity. Imagine this. Instead of waking up each day asking, what do I need to achieve so I'll be enough? You wake with the knowing, I already am enough, simply by being here. That shift alone begins to dissolve the chains Saturn seemed to wrap around you in your youth. The gift of this placement is presence as power, not the kind of power that demands attention with noise or force, but the kind that resonates through silence, through steadiness. Think of the way some people enter a room without saying a word, yet everyone feels them. That's the mastery Saturn in the first house is slowly sculpting within you. This invitation is also about your body. Let's not forget this. To see it not as a burden, but as a sacred vessel. Saturn asks you to honor your bones, your posture, your breath as the structure of your becoming. To root into physical form, not with shame or tension, but with reverence, because the body itself becomes the anchor of your authority. And when you begin to live this truth, the question that haunted you, am I enough? Do I belong? That begins to dissolve into a deeper knowing. I do not need to prove. I only need to be. With Saturn in the first house, your becoming isn't loud. It's steady. It's the kind of authority that outlasts storms because it's not built on performance. It's built on truth. So, how do you anchor your identity when Saturn is in your first house? Saturn in the first house asks not for theory, but for practice. Daily ways to inhabit your authority, to remind your body and spirit that you are already enough. Now, here are some practices to anchor this truth. Let me give you some somatic. You're going to stand up, feel your feet pressing into the ground. Imagine roots spreading down into the earth, steady and unshakable. Now bring your awareness to your spine, the pillar Saturn built for you. Straighten slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, until you feel tall, present, and unmovable. I want you to breathe here once you have that. This is Saturn's gift, the strength of structure. Each time you ground like this, you remind yourself and your body, I am supported. I am here. The next one is mirror work. Each morning, I want you to go to the mirror and I want you to look directly into your own eyes. Not the surface, not the flaws, but into the soul staring back. At first, you may feel resistance, the urge to look away, the whispers of judgment. Stay anyway. Say out loud, I am enough in being, not in proving. My presence is my authority. Watch how your face softens, how your body exhales. This is not vanity, it's remembrance. The next one, let's do some journaling. Take a notebook and write the words. Who am I when no one is watching? Let the pen move without censoring. Just begin to write whatever comes up. Write your truth raw. The parts you hide, the parts you long for, the parts you're ready to claim. This practice strips away performance and reconnects you with the essence Saturn has been shaping beneath the armor. And then let's do a daily ritual or steps to take. I want you to light a candle in the morning or at night, not to impress anyone, not as a show, but as a reminder. Watch the flame. See how it's steady, alive, enduring. And say to yourself, I am the flame. I do not need to perform to exist. My presence burns steady. Now, each time you do this, you retrain your nervous system to associate presence with peace and not pressure. Okay? These practices aren't about becoming someone new. They're about remembering who you've always been beneath the weight. Saturn in the first house responds to consistency. So the more often you do these small things, the rituals, the somatics, the more your identity will root in truth. Now, before I leave you with this, I want to remind you these tools and this guidance I can only give you. It is up to you to do your work. So take all of them, take one of them, take none of them. Everyone has free will. All right, beautiful ones, let me leave you with this. Saturn in the first house is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming yourself. From childhood's weight to the shadow of performance. From the initiation of Saturn's return to the steadying gift of presence. This placement is a slow unveiling, layer by layer, mask by mask. Saturn strips away the false identity until what remains is the essence of you. Where once you may have felt invisible, overburdened, or unseen, you begin to discover that presence itself is enough. True authority does not come from proving or from perfection. It comes from the courage to embody your truth, to stand tall in who you are without apology. And this is what the becoming Saturn asks of you. Now, if you want to continue this journey with me, stay tuned here in the Saturn Through the Houses series, the Astrology of Your Becoming. You can also explore my Hero series, where Pluto Through the Houses, where we face the shadow and reclaim power. And I've also done the Soul's Path with the North Node, where destiny itself speaks. Together, these series form a living map of remembering. And beautiful one, if this transmission resonated, hit that hype button. It's more than a like, it's an activation. Every hype tells the algorithm to carry this message to more souls who need it. Together, we weave the remembrance into the collective field. You are not here to perform. You are not here to prove. You, my beautiful one, are here to become. And Saturn in your first house will not let you forget.